Well, Gen Z users on TikTok are breaking the mold when it comes to finances. Instead of hiding what they make, they're sharing their payday routines, from bills to savings and fun money. They're hoping to show salary transparency and hold themselves accountable. Hashtag payday routine has 52.9 million views on TikTok. Behavior finance researchers seem to support it, saying it spotlights financial struggles and why people live paycheck to paycheck. Let's talk to our panel about it. Joining us now is former radio news anchor Lee Harris and Lucie Mitchell. She is the CEO of Life Flip Media. So Lee, I'll start with you. When I first saw this, I didn't think about the benefits necessarily. I was sort of alarmed by the safety issues and potential challenges to asking for a raise if you're posting this kind of information. But what do you think?
I think this would have been enormously helpful back when I was going paycheck to paycheck, which was a great deal of my young adult life. I was actually making pretty good money, at least after I ran it through the inflation calculator. And I never had any money, even though I was making the equivalent of over $100,000 a year. Inflation was very terrible back then. We're talking about the early 80s. And if I had had this kind of guidance from other people, I might have had a lot more money at the end of the day. So I think it's a great trend. And these people aren't making so much money, I think, that anybody's going to want to target them for highway robbery or anything of that nature. These are, people earning low six figures or even less in some cases. So I think it would have been great if we, had lived in modern times back when I was living paycheck to paycheck.
All right, I hear you, Lee. Lucie, I'm interested to get your take as well. What do you think?
Well, I completely agree with my co-panelist. I was raised in an era where I remember the sixth grade, we actually had to budget a checkbook. We had to pretend we went shopping. We had a certain salary that we brought in. I learned those skills, and that was in the 80s. And those skills helped me to, for today. It's unfortunate that our educational system doesn't make things like paying your taxes and budgeting and allocating to live within your means as a part of home economics or some sort of a class. So when I've seen these videos, I've just been like, if the internet was around when I was in school, this is probably how I would have learned it. And I think it's helping the next generation. And again, they're not bringing in hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think they're just really helping to normalize living within your means, and this is an effective way to do it.
Well, that's great. Well, and I think financial literacy is super important. I agree with you. We don't talk about it enough. But Lucie, I'll ask you very quickly, what do you think in terms of, is there a cutoff for this, an age cutoff? Do you think this maybe is not effective or is helpful the longer you go in your career? Or what's your take?
I think it's very helpful. In fact, I myself have altered how I run our household finances based on some of these techniques. Again, they're just the same, in my opinion, the same techniques, just shown in a more current way. So I think that all generations and all ages can benefit from it.
All right, great. Appreciate that. Okay, so from flaunting your pay to hiding your wealth, there's another money trend from the other extreme that some are calling quiet luxury. It's when someone can't afford brand names, flashy clothes, bags with logos, but they don't buy them. Like in the HBO show Succession, the family flies in private jets but scoffs at a woman for a flashy purse. So experts say high net worth people hide their wealth because they prefer to fly under the radar, both for safety as well as avoiding expectations from others. So Lee, wearing luxury brands, as you know, doesn't always equate to wealth, but is keeping finances truly private in public like this ultimately safer and better? What do you say?
This is a lesson I learned very early in my youth. When I was growing up, we didn't know a lot of wealthy people, but the wealthiest guy we knew was the president of a bank, and he was dressed horribly every time he would come to our house. Notably, he had torn sneakers, and I asked my mother, I said, what's the deal with this guy? He's got a lot of money. And she said, that's how you can tell he has a lot of money. He's confident enough to go out in these torn sneakers, because he doesn't need to show the world that he's got money. The interesting thing about this quiet luxury is that the people who are in the know can spot these unlabeled, very expensive clothes and bags because they can afford them as well. But it's kind of a secret to the people who would normally just be looking for the logo. So it's a whole other regime that's in place just among the very rich who can identify these things at a glance.
All right, so therefore it doesn't become a safety issue. Lucie, what do you think?
Honestly, I have many girlfriends who are in the online entrepreneurial space. Some of them even have these groups where they are selling these quote unquote luxury bags that are actually not, they're knockoffs. And again, I just go back to what it is that you find value in and how you express that value. You know, it's not a matter of like wearing a price tag of that this is what you bring in or this is how much something costs. Because again, same as my co-panelists, I grew up with many people who we had no idea what their financial wealth was. And that was because it wasn't based on what they were putting out. They could have been millionaires or they could have had $1 in the bank. It was all about based on character. So again, I don't have like a personal opinion necessarily on this viewpoint other than whatever you deem as personally valuable to you is how you want to express it.
All right, I like that. So Lucie, can both trends that we talked about, from payday routines to quiet luxury, live in the same world? What's the disconnect? Do you think it's generational?
I do think it's generational. I do think it also has to do with personal values and opinions and where you really want to spend your money and how you want to showcase your money, whether you have it or you don't.
All right, makes sense. Lee, we'll give you the final word here.
I wish there had been a little bit more awareness of people living paycheck to paycheck back when I was doing that. And the reason was when I lived in Chicago, I came home from work one night and got smashed over the head with a malt liquor bottle by a couple of guys who were obviously there to rob me. And when I came to, they were very disappointed because they found I only had $15 on me. And they said, "Why don't you have more money?" I said, "Guys, it's Thursday. Come back tomorrow. You know, I'm living paycheck to paycheck."
Well, Lee, we're certainly happy you're okay. Lee Harris, Lucie Mitchell, thank you so much for weighing in. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Well, next on News.